Go. Well, let's see what happens. Enjoy it one more day. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA. We're going to be talking about mail and branding today. So buckle up. Here we go. Family swamped by junk mail. What can you do? Okay. Oh, we didn't get the top of that. Let's see if we can get it. Nope, can't get it. This is every day is an adventure, right? You know that? I must have done something with the amount of room up there. But it says family swamped by junk mail. What can you do? And this is from NBC 4i from January 3rd. One family gets way too much mail and they're at wits' end trying to stop it. Their mail carrier has been getting a workout, bringing stacks of letters to one older woman at her home. Most of the requests are for money. Okay, that's what funds it all, right? And the daughter doesn't know what to do. Her senior mom receives dozens of requests for money every week. Yesterday, she got a whole stack of letters, and this box is filled with a month or two of mailings. The mail never lets up, like invitations to Hogwarts school that showered young Harry Potter every day. I remember that. I read that book. They come every day. There's not a day she doesn't get some kind of mail like that. And most letters are from legitimate charities. And here's the big problem. This is if you want to know why they're coming, her mom has a tough time saying no to requests for donations. Okay? So the reason that they don't stop and they multiply is whatever you honor will come toward you. It tugs at her heart, and she has a big heart. I had a friend who got a call from her mom's bank, and they said, your mom has like emptied out $1 million account, and we thought you might want to know. And it was all gifts to charity. Bless her heart. That was really. And so you could write to all the organizations and ask them to remove their mom off their mailing list, but it's not really their mailing list that she's getting the mailings from. It's probably exchanges, list exchanges, or list rentals. And so that might not even work because she's not on their mailing list per se, unless she's given to that organization explicitly. So what the Better Business Bureau's Wise Giving Alliance says is when donating, you can tell the charities not to share your name. That's one thing. Okay. Register with the dmachoice.org, which is the old Direct Marketing Association. I think they get that wrong. It changed its name to the Data and Marketing Association, which has literally nothing to do with mail, but anyway, DMA Choice. Signing up can stop most junk mail. There was a post on LinkedIn the other day, and it said, does mail have a PR problem? And it was like, well, yeah. See, I've embraced junk mail long ago. I said that what else in life can you throw away with impunity, right? You don't have to ever worry about throwing away the junk mail. Why they keep it in a box, I'm not sure. Set it aside, Yeah, you can send it back. Say, return to sender. You can say that, or you can just dump it, or you can use it as a fire starter. I remember the old Sunset House had the catalog log maker that you could use to make catalogs into logs for the fireplace. Here's an easy one. Ask your mom or dad to have their mail forwarded to your address, just like when you go away on vacation. Or, even further along, consider a durable power of attorney, which lets you get their mail and pay their bills and see all of that stuff. But it might be that your mom likes getting the letters. That's also possible. I had a friend, they were never really a client, although we kind of tried to work together. And they would mail something like 120 times a year. They had sweepstakes, and it was probably mainly elderly women, and they enjoyed getting stuff in the mail. So they would play along, and you know, if it's not, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, a lot of hobbies you can have that'll cost you a lot more. Like you may have noticed, I changed my LinkedIn profile, not the profile picture, but the background picture, and I put up the honeybees, and that can cost you thousands just getting started. First couple of years. So, this might be pretty harmless, but it's up to you. It's your choice. But the point is there is choice. Um, there's the send it back point here. The DMA choice does cost $2, and that's what to prevent teenagers or criminals from simply stopping your mail, or disgruntled ex-spouses, or who knows what. It's the same principle as Elon Musk with the $8 a month charge, I think, except it's much, much lower. Okay, here's an interesting scheme. I love the way they talk over there. Royal Mail wholesale incentive scheme to boost programmatic mail. And the gist of it is, first, they have a lot of information about why programmatic is good. But one of the issues is that if you mail one piece of mail, if you don't have a lot of traffic on your website, and it could be, even a lot of traffic, then you go under the threshold for advertising mail. And their threshold seems to be 4,000 pieces. I think the USPS is 2,000. But feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. You pay a pretty high rate, postal rate, unless you do like co-mail. If your printer has a number of accounts like this, then you should consider. Then you may not have to worry about it. But if you're trying to do it kind of on its own, or you're trying to get your printer to start doing this, then you may want to, if you're in the UK, you want to look into something like this, or you want to look for a printer that does bundle them together and treats it all as one big mailing. One of the advantages of a postcard is that it's all the same size and shape, and so the Postal Service can treat that as one mailing, even though and you use the printer's indicia to make that one big mailing. So anyway, you can, if they come to your website and they spend a little time looking around and then leave, you can even, in some cases with considerable limitations, look up their street address and send them a little card inviting them to come back or to come to your nearest store, or a lot of things. But one of the best applications is cart abandonment. So J.D. Williams, I always forget J.D. Williams' name when I talk about GDPR. I heard that J.D. Williams, when GDPR came out in the UK, erased all of their 12-month or older buyers. Everybody who hadn't bought in the last year, they thought they couldn't mail to them anymore, so they just erased the data. That's something I heard from a list broker in the UK. We won't mention Nigel's name because but if you know Nigel, you can check with him. I'll tag him in the thing. But Nigel told me that J.D. Williams just bunked out their customer list because they were convinced that they wouldn't be able to mail them anymore anyway, and that wasn't the case. They had I'm trying to remember. I always think of it as a compelling interest. It's something like that. It's a word like compelling. And they went to the GDPR police and said, all the other catalogers in the UK kind of banded together and said, we've been mailing these people, 40, 50 years. They seem to like getting the mail. That's a point I made in the last article, right? And so J.D. Williams did a trial, and they found that using programmatic mail increased response rates by 6%. Now that's a tough question, 6%. I always want to know what's the net profit on this thing. Average order up by 8%, but here's a good one that you can kind of take to the bank. And reduced abandon rates by 14%. And I always say, at what cost, right? If you're sending it, if you've got a 50% cart abandonment, probably that's a little high, maybe 30% cart abandonment, and you send those, so for every 10,000 orders, you get 3,000 or so people who look like they're going to order, but they don't. So for every 10,000 or so. So you send out 3,000 pieces. You've increased the cost of taking that order. That would be probably where I would allocate it. It's a good question if that makes money or not. But at least Royal Mail, good for them, is giving you a way to qualify for the lower ad mail rates, even if you're below 4,000 items per day. Okay, so that's a pretty good strategy. Okay, now over to Mark Ritson. I never know where he's going to go with this stuff, but he really liked Netflix Glass Onion. You can see that's the name when it was originally promoted, and then they added Knives Out on the bottom. And Mark liked the film. Okay, Daniel Craig is the detective Benoit Blanc. I don't know how to say that, but anyway. And the writer of the movie, what's his name? Ryan Johnson, was ticked off because he wanted a unique movie that didn't depend on seeing the previous movie. A lot like Dorothy Sayers, is it? He said, some famous mystery writer. But Netflix said, no, we're going to tie it back to the big hit Knives Out. And so Mark tells the story of how movies are branded. So Glass Onion on its own was repositioned by Netflix to Glass Onion Knives Out, in very small type, I have to say. And this is a spectrum of branding, from House of Brands, where we just acquire brands and we just leave them alone and let them market by themselves, all the way over to a branded house, which, like the movie Halloween, just is the same name over and over and over and over. Okay, The Godfather, Godfather 1, Godfather 2, Godfather 3. Or you can have a sub-brand, which is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, for example, is I think it's the third one. But Indiana Jones is featured, Star Trek, and then they have the title. This is actually, the title of the brand is bigger. This one certainly isn't. Knives Out is small print. Okay, so from a graphic standpoint, it doesn't seem like they went all the way to here to co-drivers, but I'm not going to argue with Mark. And he said that in the aughts, he goes, where's the aughts? Okay. Oh, Agatha Christie is the author that Ryan Johnson wanted to emulate Agatha Christie, where the main protagonist stays the same, but Johnson wanted to trust the intelligence of his audience, and Netflix thought better of that. What was it? P.T. Barnum, who said you'll never go broke underestimating the intelligence of your audience, or I guess he said a sucker's born every minute. Excuse me. That's a marketing principle for you. So Ryan Johnson wanted to trust the intelligence of the audience, and Netflix said no. But actually, there's more to it than that. Okay, what happened was that there was a surprise. Oh, and so here he talks about in the naughties, it looks like, which is not the 90s and it's not the 10s, it's the zeros, naught. That's what they say over in the UK. During the noughties, multinationals acquired more and more brands, okay? And then, a decade later, the cost of maintaining and growing such a large, diverse portfolio became increasingly apparent, and every smart company did two things, okay? They cut back the quantitative size of the portfolio of brands, okay? So they Everyone from P&G to FedEx demolished some of the houses on their property. That's pretty good. I love the metaphor there. To reduce their marketing land tax and bolster their renovation budgets by focusing only on the biggest and best remaining properties. Then they moved as many of the surviving brands as possible from left to right on that spectrum, right? So moved them from independent brands over to some connection that made some sense with the main brand. Okay, so Coke Zero, or Zero, I think it was just called Zero, became Coke Zero, product variant of Coke, not a sub-brand in its own right. Picasa, I don't even remember Picasa, became Google Photos. Okay, makes sense. More became less, the less began to deliver. Netflix is merely following a trend that is established, a trend as established as any in modern brand management, trying to attract as many customers as possible. The last 30 years has witnessed an incredible revolution in product development. Right. So Marvel has a whole franchise. Disney has whole franchises of movies. And they just keep cranking them out. And they make some money with them. When Mark was a kid, he said The Godfather, Star Wars, those were like the only serial sequel. But now they have tons of them. Okay. So according to Anita Elbers from Harvard, they're 6 times more profitable if you connect with a previous success. That could be. Okay. And you can get the link to John Lombardo explaining to LinkedIn's John Lombardo explaining it all. And I put that link in the comments, I think. Oh, I wanted to do a shout out to Vinny, who's been sharing these every day. You know, I noticed that all of a sudden my impressions have doubled, and it could just be that one thing that Vinny's doing every day, and I really want to commend him for that. So if you like these, and I have a few people that, you know, I get regular likes on these shows, probably male people, and I mean M-A-I-L. Instead of hitting like, or in addition to hitting like, just move over a little and hit the share button. It's right next to the like button. Well, it's over one more, I think. And it's no more work. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. Vinny just says, another good show by John, or the WDMA or something. But it really seems to make a difference. So I really appreciate the shares. If you, you know, I appreciate if you want to join, and you can go to wdma.org/join and give me some encouragement that way, tangible encouragement. But boy, Vinny is really up in the views, it seems like to me. Okay, so what's going on here? Knives Out was a surprise commercial smash, made for only $40 million and brought in $300 million. And then the next movie was a bidding war, and Netflix offered $470 million for 2. Okay, so you know, if it isn't quite as good, they could lose some money. And that may just be the program rights. I don't know what it is to build it, to make the movie. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I'm not a movie maker. Find love on the best dating site. Oh, okay. Someone's spamming me on social media, and that's from YouTube. And they're just going to keep on, I suppose. I did get a couple new subscribers on YouTube, so people do buy it and do watch it over there. So when it came out, The Glass Onion, Netflix did a limited cinematic run in the US and the UK, and it did very good business. But after only 5 days, Netflix pulled the film from the theaters and announced it would appear on the channel a month later on the 23rd of December. And interestingly, because sequels are so rarely as good as the original, like never, my kids and my wife went down in the basement and watched, you know, the premiere like the day of or the next day or something. And I didn't watch it because I like sailing videos on the YouTube channels, but also because I thought, well, it's Knives Out and it won't be as good. And if I would have known it was just a mystery with a similar writer and there wasn't that connection, I would have been much more likely to watch it. But because I thought it was a sequel, I decided to pass. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, Mark, and also Netflix. There is a negative. There's a price to pay making it a sequel. So we have two religions: member satisfaction, which is way up here, and operating income, which is way down here. Netflix would like to make 300 million from the theater box office, but they are more interested in making happy the 24 billion in revenue subscribers. Okay, that makes sense, and that's the way. We always ran the catalog business. We always wanted to make sure that we were delivering value consistently over time, because that is where the real money is. Okay, so Ryan was right to move his title to title his movie Glass Onion, but Reed Hastings does not care about one movie. He cares about his customers and how they feel about their subscription to Netflix. Long-term profitability, sustainability, right? And good news, you can still watch Knives Out, Glass Onion, and there's another one being made right now, and there'll be more made if they keep making money. So have a great day. Like and share. Hit the share button. Your friends